So what's next for Fanbase Press? Because I know you guys have the weekly podcast.
We do.
Which, if people are watching, they should go check that out. Subscribe
Yes,
on iTunes.
Yes. So we've got, in addition to the Fanbase Weekly podcast, we have a whole podcast network. We have the Arkham Sessions podcast, through which Dr. Andrea Letamendi and Brian Ward analyze every episode of Batman the Animated Series through a clinical lens. We've got Finding Felicity, through which Teresa Giacino, the host, and a host of guest contributors go through every episode of Felicity, the TV show. We have Tread Perilously, which watches the arguably worst episodes of really famous TV shows. And we have a new one coming up, which viewers will need to stay tuned for later this year. But two of the exciting things this year from a publishing perspective are the sequels, which is a 4-issue miniseries that we're doing with Norm Harper, who's the writer, also Eisner nominated, Bobby Timoney, Val Halverson. We have quite the list. Don DeGillo and Oceana Ransford again, Deanna Pop as well. And basically, if you can imagine the 80s adventure characters like the kid from E.T. and the kid from The Neverending Story, what happens to these characters 30 years later? How do they adjust into adulthood? So it's 4 of these adults coming together and kind of having to relive their adventures. So that's going to be starting next month.
That's really exciting.
Yeah, and then we have the Odds audio drama, which is adapted from Robert J. Peterson's novel of the same name, and we're adapting it into a 12-episode audio drama, which will also come out later this year.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
What's the process in like getting podcasts through other people and getting people to your network? How do you kind of like find shows?
Sure. The Fanbase Weekly was always our first flagship podcast for Fanbase Press, and then the others honestly have kind of come to us, or we've approached mutually and said, I love your work. Would you like to syndicate through us? So yeah, a lot of our more recent podcasts have been either a combination of the two, someone approaching us or us approaching them.
That's really exciting.